Paul Walker was a man who famously guarded his romantic life with fierce intensity. While many assumed he simply cherished his anonymity, the actual motivation behind his secrecy was truly startling. Most fans remember Walker as the clean-cut, strikingly handsome lead of the Fast and the Furious saga. His close friendship with Vin Diesel and his extensive charity work are legendary. However, behind the scenes, his love life remained a mystery. As it happens, there was a very specific reason he kept his partners out of the limelight. The early years, from nappies to new wave. Born in Glendale, California, in 1973, Walker's career began incredibly early. His first performance was actually a nappy advert at the age of 2. By the time he reached his teens, he was appearing in guest roles on shows like Highway to Heaven. While these weren't star-making turns, an audition soon arrived that promised to make him a household name. The project was Throb, a sitcom set against the backdrop of the new wave music scene, starring Jane Leeves of Frasier fame. A 12-year-old Walker joined the cast as Jeremy Beatty. Despite the potential, the show folded after 2 series. Walker had already made the clever move to depart after the first year, to seek out his big break elsewhere, monsters and B-movies, while grinding away on television. Walker eventually transitioned to the cinema, though his debut was in a low-budget B-movie titled Monster in the Closet. His follow-up project, Tammy and the T-Rex, saw him starring alongside a pre-famed Denise Richards. The production was chaotic for one bizarre reason. The crew only had access to the mechanical dinosaur for a fortnight. They rushed to finish, resulting in a gory, R-rated horror comedy. In an attempt to find a broader audience, editors hacked away the violence, but the film ultimately flopped. Today, the uncut gore cut remains a cult curiosity for fans. The struggle for stardom. By 1998, Walker finally landed what looked like a legitimate breakthrough: the Disney-produced surfing comedy Meet the Deedles. Even with the presence of screen legend Dennis Hopper, the film was a catastrophe, losing the studio a massive $20 million. With his career on the line, his luck finally shifted. He secured a role in Pleasantville, appearing with William H. Macy and Tobey Maguire. Though his part was minor, it provided the prestige he desperately needed. He followed this with Varsity Blues, portraying an American football player. Remarkably, Walker actually broke his leg during production. While reviews were lukewarm, the film eventually earned cult classic status. He then appeared in the teen hit She's All That. Despite the film's commercial success, the spotlight focused largely on Freddie Prinze Jr. and Rachel Lee Cook. Walker's moment of true stardom continued to elude him. Fatherhood and a life-changing pitch while his career simmered. Walker's personal life took a monumental turn. He became a father. He had been in a long-term relationship with Rebecca Soteros, who gave birth to their daughter, Meadow, in 1998. Privately, Walker struggled with the transition, even confessing to his mother that he feared he wouldn't be a capable parent. However, a professional revolution was brewing. Director Rob Cohen, who had worked with Walker on The Skulls, asked the actor what his dream action film would look like. Walker proposed a hybrid, the gritty undercover tension of Donnie Brasco, mixed with the high-octane racing of Days of Thunder. Cohen loved the idea and showed Walker a Vibe magazine article about clandestine street racing in New York. The concept for the Fast and the Furious was born. The birth of a legend, surprisingly, even though the idea was largely his. Walker wasn't the first choice for the lead. The studio offered the role to Mark Wahlberg, Christian Bale, and even Eminem before circling back to Walker. Finding his co-star was equally difficult. Timothy Olyphant famously rejected the part of Dominic Toretto, calling the concept stupid. Eventually, the producers convinced a relatively unknown Vin Diesel to sign on after several script rewrites. The chemistry between the two was instant and undeniable. The film became a global phenomenon and the pair even bagged Best On-Screen Team at the MTV Movie Awards. But what was the reality of their relationship when the cameras stopped rolling? As it turned out, the bond between Walker and Diesel wasn't just for the cameras. They became inseparable during the production of The Fast and the Furious. Diesel eventually became the godfather to Walker's daughter, Meadow, and affectionately referred to Paul as his brother. Years later, Diesel even named his own daughter, Pauline, as a tribute to his fallen friend. Seeking to diversify, Walker's next project saw him behind the wheel again, but in a very different context. He starred in the road trip thriller Joyride. While it had the hallmarks of a standard B-movie, it defied expectations by becoming a genuine critical success, proving Walker had the range for suspense. The franchise without a brother in 2003, Walker pivoted to sci-fi, co-starring with Gerard Butler in Timeline, based on a Michael Crichton novel. The film was such a disaster that Crichton reportedly vowed never to allow another big screen adaptation of his work. With his experimental roles stalling, Walker returned to the world of street racing. In Too Fast, Too Furious, he had to carry the film without his partner, Vin Diesel. While critics were far from impressed, the fans didn't care. The film raked in over $50 million in its first weekend, even outperforming the family blockbuster Finding Nemo. Sharks and box office sinkholes, his next venture, Into the Blue, swapped cars for deep-sea diving and drug cartels. Starring alongside Jessica Alba and Josh Brolin, Walker even managed to secure a role for his own dog, a Chesapeake Bay retriever named Boone. The production was famous for its authentic shark scenes. To capture the tension, the cast actually swam with live sharks in the Bahamas. The creatures were so habituated to humans that the director notoriously asked Walker if he'd be willing to strap raw fish to his body to encourage them to swarm. Wisely, Walker refused. Despite the star power and the sun-drenched visuals, the film was a financial washout, failing to recoup its $50 million budget. Chasing the critical nod, realizing that action and comedy weren't always his allies, Walker sought out more prestige projects. He took a supporting role in the harrowing World War II drama Flags of Our Fathers, directed by the legendary Clint Eastwood. This seemed like the perfect formula, a respected director and a powerful true story. However, while the critics were kind and the film earned a few Academy Award nods, the public stayed away. The ticket sales fell embarrassingly short of its $90 million price tag. It seemed Walker was trapped. Audiences only wanted to see him in a car, yet he was determined to prove he was more than just a driver. He then trekked to the freezing climates of Greenland and Norway for 8 Below, a moving tale about abandoned sled dogs in Antarctica. For once, the gamble paid off. The film, starring a pack of adorable huskies and Malamutes, earned respectable reviews and became a box office hit. The producer's gamble feeling emboldened, Walker moved into producing. His first attempt, The Death and Life of Bobby Z 2007, was an unmitigated failure. With a modest $8 million budget, it still managed to lose money and was essentially relegated to the bargain bin of straight-to-video releases. Undeterred, he tried producing again with Vehicle 19, a South African thriller, thinking a car-centric plot would guarantee success. He was disappointed when the film crashed and burned with both critics and viewers alike. Reclaiming the crown, there was only one place left to go. After being absent from Tokyo Drift, Walker and Diesel reunited to save the franchise from obscurity. In a clever marketing move, the studio titled the fourth outing simply Fast and Furious, signaling a back-to-basics approach. The result was explosive. The film surpassed the entire domestic run of the previous installment in just its opening weekend. The public's message was clear. They wanted the duo back together. To keep the momentum, the fifth film shifted gears entirely. Moving away from street racing, the story transformed into a high-stakes heist movie. It also introduced a massive new force to the ensemble, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. The franchise was bigger than ever, but as Paul's fame reached its peak, the shadows surrounding his private life were about to grow even darker. When Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson entered the Fast and Furious fold, critics were quick to shower him with praise. His electric chemistry with Vin Diesel was described as a cosmic event, leaving some to wonder if Walker was being pushed to the periphery of his own franchise. However, the ultimate bromance was far from over. While Johnson returned for the sixth installment, the MTV Movie Awards reaffirmed who the true heart of the series was, Walker, and Diesel took home Best On-Screen Duo for a second time. While the Teen Choice Awards later shared the Chemistry Prize, among all three men to keep the peace, tragedy was lurking just around the corner. Brought about by another close friend of Walker's, the final drive on the 30th of November, 2013, Walker attended a toy drive for his charity, Reach Out Worldwide. After the event, he left in a Porsche Carrera GT driven by his friend and financial advisor, Roger Rhodes. Rhodes, a professional racer, was traveling at speeds between 130 and 150 kilometers per hour, well above the limit. As they approached a curve notorious for high-speed drifting, disaster struck. Rhodes lost control, hitting a lamp post and to trees before the vehicle erupted into flames. Rhodes died instantly. Walker's life ended mere moments later. Initial rumors suggested illegal street racing, but a police investigation concluded that speed was the sole factor. There were no mechanical failures and no substances involved. It was a tragic, high-velocity accident. Completing the impossible at the time of his death, Walker was midway through filming Furious 7. After a period of mourning and uncertainty, the studio decided to finish the film as a tribute. To bridge the gap, Walker's brothers, Caleb and Cody, stepped in as body doubles, with cutting-edge digital effects recreating Paul's face. The result was a staggering success. Furious 7 earned an incredible $1.5 billion and a glowing 82% on Rotten Tomatoes. The film's final sequence, a poignant farewell to Walker, left audiences worldwide in tears, serving as a global standing ovation for the actor. Lawsuits and a secret history. The aftermath was marked by legal battles. Walker's father sued the Rhodes estate, while Walker's daughter, Mello, filed a suit against Porsche. The car manufacturer claimed the accident was the result of reckless driving, but both cases were eventually settled out of court. Mello, just 15 at the time, inherited her father's entire estate, valued between $16 million and $25 million. Despite a brief custody dispute involving her grandmother and her mother's personal struggles, Mello chose to stay with her mother. However, the most jaw-dropping revelation concerned Walker's private life. It emerged that at the time of his death, he had been living with Jasmine Pilchard Gosnell. The two had begun dating when she was just 16 years old, and he was 33. This wasn't an isolated incident. Another former partner, Aubriana Atwell, was also only 16 when their relationship began. Given that the age of consent in California is 18, these revelations cast a troubling shadow over the actor's clean-cut image a secret he had worked tirelessly to keep hidden. The future, a digital resurrection. Despite his passing, the world may not have seen the last of Brian O'Connor. In 2025, Vin Diesel stunned the fanbase by announcing that the franchise would return to its roots for its final chapters. Most shockingly, he confirmed that Walker's character will return for Fast X Part 2. Whether through CGI, his brother's assistance, or a combination of both, Brian O'Connor will ride again in April 2027. Thank you for watching this deep dive on Hollywood icons mysteries. If you found this story compelling, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe for more untold histories. Want to help choose our next subject? Check the link in the description to join our membership program for exclusive perks. Your support keeps these mysteries alive.